Having the right tools for the job makes gardening just so much easier. A gardening tool that often gets overlooked are sprayers and pressure sprayers. So there are many things in gardening, I should say gadgets, that we really should be embracing. And if you are still using one of these to spray the weeds in your lawn, to feed your plants, to get rid of critters, I guarantee you, after using this and depressing this thing for probably 30 times, you are going to have the most revolting cramp in your finger and in this muscle here that you will not know what to do with yourself. I've seen this, guys. Some of you try this, but the things that can go wrong are as follows, especially when you're using one of these guys to dispense chemicals which could get used for some pretty harsh stuff. In other words, how to get rid of weeds in the lawn. Most of us have encountered this. You're not actually sure what the measurements are, and if you're not disciplined enough to decant what is in here into a little bucky that you've got some measuring things in to know that it's 750 mils or 500, that's when it goes all wrong. That's when you start guessing. And folks, the products that are available to us as gardeners from our local garden centre, whether it be a plant food, something to kill a hoho, or something to use in our lawns, has all been specifically calibrated. And most times when things go wrong, it's because we haven't followed the specific calibration instructions. And so we really need to embrace the stuff that's around us. In fact, no gardener should be without one or two, or preferably the whole family of these. And I want to start off with this little guy. Whether it be watering or whether you're actually feeding, all you got to do is squeeze the little guy. So it's super gentle for seed sowing, for any cuttings you would have taken. It does the job. It certainly doesn't blast the seeds from here out there or impale them so down into your medium that you can't use it. So it's actually got two little nozzles, and they call this nozzle a drip irrigation. And what I like using it is when we've got some hanging baskets or some things that are just a little bit high. It's quick, it's simple, it's easy. The next two are really important. And this is for when you're doing the in-between stuff. When you need to treat a crop, when you want to feed, or even if you're just watering some soft, delicate plants. This guy over here has an added little measurer, which is great for if you're going to be feeding. So if I need to put into this bottle 10 mils, pop it in, close, shake, and you're good to go. So these two little pump sprayers work great for smaller gardens. With a 1 litre capacity, with this you can be quite comfortable. Balcony, small little flatlets, contained gardening. This guy would work. Now when we start getting a bit more into the advanced, when you've got a medium-sized garden, you're probably going to have to deal with shrubs, spraying, treating. You definitely have to invest in either one of these. Now, both of these are pressure sprays. In a nutshell, this guy, with the pressure, as you push this up and down, you are then building up the pressure in the lower receptacle, which means that a couple of things are going to happen. Number one, you don't have to do that, yeah? And once you've built up enough pressure, it does that itself. This little guy can move up and down, so you can get from a 90-degree brass nozzle. And when we start spraying, so watch now, that just swings around. We've built up enough pressure. There we go. I'm doing nothing except holding this. Works for me. You can also change this to there and adjust through the brass nozzle. Great for feeding, brilliant for if you're needing to apply anything, whether it be a fertilizer, whether it be a plant food, to your roses, to your shrubs, treating insects. Yeah, very important, folks. Very important is this button here. Now, I've seen some of you do the following. You finish doing your work, you want to wash out the container, which is important, and it should be done after using all of these, is to rinse it out thoroughly and rebuild the pressure and get it through the nozzle. Because very often if you're using something like a weed killer, it remains in the nozzle. And then on your next application, which you would have forgotten about the other part, you then end up with damage. So whether you're using an insecticide or a fungicide, it's really important that you use the pressure release valve. Listen up carefully. Just that. Because now, when you open this, it is completely safe to do so, because I've seen it happen, where somebody opens this and whatever was in here ends up being spilled on you and comes out. And certainly if you're using a chemical, it's not the smartest thing to do. This over here is definitely for larger gardens. You're needing to treat your lawn, spray crops, fruit trees. It certainly does help when you've got a 5-litre capacity. This guy has many different things that have just improved it upon overall comfort, because it really is just about that and convenience. So a couple of things I want to chat about. Number one, when you filled it up, you can first of all see what your capacity is, which is truly important when you're needing to apply specific amounts of insecticides or plant foods, be that as it may. What's important over here is that we have, here's your pressure build-up. So once you've built up enough pressure, you then just click it in, and that also works as your carry handle. In terms of your lance, you've got different settings. So if I want to keep it spraying, I just simply adjust it there, so I don't even have to depress it the whole time. Obviously various settings on the edge, but once you're done, very important, pull it up, release the excess pressure, you can then open it and clean it. But from pumping, which is why we have this little foot stand, it works well, it's easy to use, and it certainly does make applying insecticides, plant foods, especially treating the lawn, quite a breeze.